She stood in front of 500 people, 12 weeks pregnant, about to announce the baby to her billionaire husband. Instead, he announced his mistress, asked her to accept a modern arrangement in front of Boston's elite on their anniversary. But here's what he didn't know. The $4.2 billion company he claimed he built, she coded it, while her mother was dying in her Yale lab, and she had proof. What happened next shut down the entire room. And I mean literally, 500 phones recording, 10 million views in 2 hours. The FBI got involved, a conspiracy that went all the way to rival billionaires. Deepfakes so perfect even experts couldn't tell. A class action lawsuit that changed American law. This is the story of Sarah Morrison, the woman they tried to bury, the woman who burned their empire down, the woman who proved that truth doesn't need $1 billion. It just needs a microphone. And you're about to hear exactly how she did it. The champagne tasted like victory until it turned to ash in Sarah's mouth. 500 guests filled the Grandview Hotel ballroom. Crystal chandeliers worth more than most homes cast golden light across marble floors. Sarah Elizabeth Morrison stood near the stage, one hand resting on her stomach, where a 12-week secret grew, watching her husband adjust the microphone. Tonight was supposed to be perfect. Their 8th anniversary party. Boston's elite gathered to celebrate their marriage. Sarah had planned to tell Ryan about the baby during his speech. She'd imagined his face lighting up, pulling her close, their daughter becoming real between them. Beth Mitchell, Ryan's younger sister, squeezed Sarah's shoulder. "You look nervous. Everything okay?" Sarah smiled, touching her stomach again. "I'm about to tell him. Tonight." "Tell him what?" Beth's blue eyes went wide with fake innocence. "That he's going to be a father." Beth's hand tightened on Sarah's shoulder. "Oh, Sarah, that's wonderful." The video screens flanking the stage displayed Ryan's accomplishments. Forbes 47 on America's richest under 40. TechCorp valuation at $4.2 billion. Ryan Mitchell had become Boston's tech golden boy, and Sarah had been there from the beginning. Before the money, before the fame, when it was just two kids with a dream and an algorithm. Patricia Whitmore Mitchell, Ryan's mother, held court near the bar, old money personified in pearls and judgment. Her voice carried across the room. "My son built TechCorp from nothing in his Harvard dorm. Pure genius runs in our family." Sarah heard it. Everyone did. The subtle erasure, the rewriting of history. Sarah touched her stomach again, drawing strength from the life inside her. Soon everyone would know the truth about TechCorp's origins. But first, the baby announcement. Ryan tapped the microphone. The room quieted. Sarah's heart raced. "8 years ago," Ryan began, his voice smooth as aged whiskey, "I married the woman I thought would be my partner in building an empire." Sarah stood taller. This was it, their moment. But sometimes you realize you married a prototype when you needed the final version. The smile froze on Sarah's face. Around her, guests shifted uncomfortably. What was he saying? Ryan gestured toward the side entrance. A woman in a red dress walked out. Young, beautiful. Amber Sinclair, Ryan's new marketing director. Sarah had met her twice. Polite conversations about brand strategy and market positioning. "This is Amber Sinclair," Ryan continued. "She's brilliant, supportive, and understands what it takes to stand beside a man like me." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Sarah's vision tunneled. This couldn't be happening. Not here. Not now. "I'm asking you all to witness and celebrate. I want Amber as part of my life. Sarah, I need you to accept this new arrangement." The screen behind him changed. A presentation slide. Progressive relationships. Why Silicon Valley is embracing polyamory. Camera phones lifted like weapons. Sarah heard the clicks, the whispers, the beginning of her humiliation going viral in real time. Beth moved toward her, face arranged in fake concern. "Oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." Patricia stood, clutching her pearls. "Sarah, dear, Ryan's just being honest about his needs." Sarah looked between them. Beth's eyes held triumph, not surprise. Patricia's mouth curved with satisfaction. They knew. Both of them had known this was coming. The realization hit like ice water. This was planned, choreographed, her destruction as evening entertainment for Boston's elite. Something inside Sarah cracked. Not broke, cracked. And through that crack, something harder emerged. She walked toward the stage, not running away, walking toward, each step measured, deliberate. 500 people watching, 500 phones recording. Ryan saw her coming, his confidence flickered. Sarah, let's discuss this privately. She took the microphone from his hand. The weight of it felt good, solid, real. You want honesty, Ryan? Her voice filled the ballroom, clear, strong. Let me give this room real honesty. She turned to face the crowd, 500 faces, some shocked, some gleeful, all watching. I'm 12 weeks pregnant with his daughter. The gasps were audible this time. Phones moved closer. Camera flashes exploded like fireworks. Someone in the back screamed. Oh my God. Sarah kept talking. You just asked your pregnant wife to accept your mistress in front of 500 people on our anniversary. Ryan reached for the microphone. That doesn't change what I need. Sarah pulled back. And since we're being honest about who built what, let's talk about Tech Corp. She pulled out her phone. Thank God she'd kept access to the venue's AV system. A perk of being the CEO's wife, who'd helped plan every detail of this party. Her fingers moved quickly. The screens behind Ryan flickered. Tech Corp wasn't built in Ryan's Harvard dorm, Sarah said. It was built in my Yale lab. The screens displayed scanned documents, code with timestamps, two names at the top, Sarah Morrison, Marcus Taylor, dated 2014. That's my original algorithm, Sarah continued, created with my lab partner Marcus Taylor while my mother was dying of cancer. Ryan wasn't even there. He was at Harvard, partying, failing organic chemistry. More screens, a licensing agreement, Ryan's signature, use of Morrison-Taylor algorithm, license 2016. He improved my work? Sarah's laugh was bitter. He renamed my variables and called it innovation. TechCorp is valued at $4.2 billion. Built on code I wrote at 23 years old, while watching my mother die, while believing my boyfriend would credit me, while being young enough to think love meant honesty. Ryan's face had gone pale. You're taking this out of context. Context? Sarah turned to Amber. Should we give them context about who you really work for? Amber's eyes went wide. Genuine fear, finally. Everyone meet Amanda Vale, Sarah said. Corporate intelligence specialist. Her real LinkedIn is fascinating. Shall we? Another screen. Amber's actual profile. Not the scrubbed version she'd used to get hired. The real one. Listing her employer. Hayes Industrial Group. Victor Hayes' company. Victor Hayes sent her to destroy you, Ryan. Get down, Sarah said. To seduce you, steal our military contract, and frame me for it. You've been sleeping with a corporate spion. The room erupted. Investors standing, checking phones. Someone shouted about treason, the military contract, national security. Patricia tried to grab the microphone. This is slander. Sarah stepped back. It's not slander if it's true. And I have 8 years of evidence. She removed her wedding ring, the 3-carat diamond that Ryan had proposed with when TechCorp was worth nothing and his promises were everything. She placed it on the podium. This marriage is over, Sarah said. TechCorp was built on my intellectual property, financed by my ideas, sustained by my silence. But I'm done being silent. She looked at Ryan, really looked at him. The man she'd loved, the man who'd stolen from her, the man carrying her daughter who'd just tried to humiliate her into accepting his mistress. I accept your terms, Ryan. You get Amber. I get everything else. Sarah walked toward the exit. The crowd parted. No one spoke. 500 people in absolute silence. Her heels clicked against marble, each step taking her away from the life she'd built, towards something unknown, but honest. The doors closed behind her. Outside, Kate Brennan was waiting. Sarah's college roommate, her divorce attorney, her best friend. Please tell me you recorded that, Kate said. Sarah pulled out her phone. Every word, and I already sent the files to everyone in that room. Original code documentation, the licensing agreement, Amber's real identity. It's all out there now. Kate grinned. That was the most badass thing I've ever seen. But girl, you just declared war. Sarah touched her stomach, felt the secret growing there. The daughter who would never know her mother stayed silent. I know, Sarah said. I'm ready. We're ready. Inside the ballroom, chaos exploded. Investors demanded answers. Patricia screamed about family loyalty. Ryan stood on stage, destroyed, while Amber fled through a side exit. And on 500 phones, the video spread. Tech billionaire dumps pregnant wife for spy. Within 2 hours, 10 million views. By morning, the whole world would know. Sarah Morrison had just shut down the room. Now she had to survive what came next. Kate's law office smelled like old books and new coffee. 3 in the morning and they were still working. Sarah sat in a leather chair that had seen 1,000 divorces, watching Kate type faster than seemed human. I'm filing everything tonight, Kate said. Divorce petition, intellectual property theft lawsuit, restraining order for domestic emotional abuse, emergency injunction, freezing Tech Corp assets pending investigation. He'll fight back. Sarah's hands shook around her coffee mug. Decaf for the baby. You don't humiliate Ryan Mitchell without consequences. Let him fight. We have evidence. Original code, licensing agreements, witness testimony from Marcus. Marcus Taylor, Sarah's Yale lab partner, the man who'd helped her code the algorithm that became Tech Corp's foundation. African-American, brilliant, now teaching at MIT. They'd stayed friends after graduation. Professional colleagues who'd created something revolutionary. Sarah's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Just saw the video. Holy shit, Sarah. I'm on the next flight to Boston. We're finishing this. She typed back. Thank you. Bring every piece of documentation from Yale. Every email, every file, everything. His response was immediate. Already packed. Kate hit send on the legal filings. Done. By morning, Ryan's lawyers will have a mountain of paperwork. His assets frozen, his reputation in question, and you'll have legal protection. Will it be enough? Honestly, I don't know. He's got money, power, connections. Kate leaned back. But you've got truth, and in court, truth still matters. Sarah wanted to believe her. Across town in Tech Corp's glass and steel headquarters, Ryan Mitchell was learning what truth cost. The conference room held his inner circle. Patricia Whitmore Mitchell, his mother, the architect of his life. Beth Mitchell, his sister, his spy. Derek Stone, his CFO. The man who made problems disappear. The video played on loop. Sarah's voice, clear, damning. Built on code I wrote while my mother was dying of cancer. 10 million views, Derek said. By morning, it'll be at 50 million. The board is calling emergency sessions. Investors want answers. The military is reviewing our security clearance. Ryan slammed his fist on the table. How do we contain this? We don't contain, Patricia said. Her voice was ice in strategy. We destroy. She humiliated you? We destroy her credibility completely. How? Ryan looked at his mother, the woman who taught him that winning was everything, that people were resources to be used. Sarah's mother was mentally unstable before she died, Patricia said. Depression, anxiety. Sarah's been in therapy for years. We paint her as unstable, unfit mother, dangerous to that baby she's carrying. Beth pulled out her phone. I have texts from when she was stressed. Out of context, they sound concerning. I can't handle this. I feel like I'm drowning. Everything's falling apart. You were her friend, Ryan said. Something in his chest twisted. She trusted you. I was your sister first, Beth replied. Family protects family, even from themselves. Derek nodded. I can fabricate financial records, make it look like she's been embezzling, stealing from Tech Corp to fund some offshore account. When she stole the code, she stole money too. Patricia smiled. Perfect. By the time we're done, she'll look like a mentally ill woman who fabricated a conspiracy for attention, who lied about her contributions, who's using that pregnancy as a weapon. Ryan stared at the frozen image of Sarah on screen. His wife, the woman who'd believed in him when he was nobody, who'd shared her groundbreaking algorithm because she trusted him, who was carrying his daughter. Do it, he said, whatever it takes. Because winning was everything. His mother had taught him that, and he'd learned the lesson too well. The war had begun, but wars need soldiers. And Sarah was about to discover how many of hers would desert. By morning, the news cycle had exploded. Every major outlet covered it. Tech billionaire's wife exposes theft and betrayal. Boston's elite witness public humiliation. Pregnant woman takes down husband's empire. The public response split down the middle. Half supported Sarah. Girl boss was truth teller. Wronged woman fighting back. The other half questioned everything. Gold digger, manipulator, woman using pregnancy to steal her husband's company. Jennifer Hartford's Society column published at 8 in the morning. The headline made Sarah's blood run cold. The Real Sarah Mitchell, A History of Manipulation. The article painted Sarah as a social climber, a woman who'd seduced Ryan in college to steal his ideas, who'd pretended to code the algorithm to claim credit, who'd gotten pregnant to trap him when he tried to leave. Anonymous sources close to the family provided intimate details. Beth, obviously Beth. Every vulnerability Sarah had shared, weaponized. Sarah read it in Kate's apartment, her temporary home, the place she'd fled to after the party. Safe, or so she'd thought. This is character assassination, Kate said. We can sue for defamation. With what money? Sarah's bank accounts were frozen, joint accounts with Ryan. He'd moved fast, cleaned them out before her legal filings hit. I have $847 in my old savings account. That's it. What about your emergency fund? My mother left me $50,000. It's in a separate account he doesn't know about. Sarah touched her stomach. That's for Grace, for whatever comes next. Grace, she'd named the baby in her mind. Grace Elizabeth Morrison, after her mother. Elizabeth Morrison, who had fought cancer for 3 years past the doctor's predictions, who'd taught Sarah that Morrison women don't surrender. Marcus arrived at noon, tall, kind-faced, carrying 2 briefcases of documentation. He hugged Sarah carefully, conscious of the baby. We've got everything, he said. Every email from 2014, every draft of the code, witness statements from our Yale professors, lab access records proving when we were there and Ryan wasn't. It's airtight. Linda Walsh showed up an hour later, Sarah's neighbor, investigative journalist, winner of last year's Pulitzer for exposing corporate corruption. She'd been following the story since the video dropped. I want to write the truth, Linda said. Full expose, your side, documented evidence, everything. Why? Sarah asked. Why risk it? Ryan has powerful friends. Linda's smile was sharp. Because powerful men thinking they own the truth is exactly what I built my career destroying. Let me do what I do best. By evening, Sarah had her team. Kate, Marcus, Linda, 3 people against a billionaire's empire. The odds were terrible, but they were hers. At midnight, Ryan's counterstrike launched. Emergency court hearing. Filed with a judge who played golf with Patricia's husband. Petition for immediate mental health evaluation and custody protection. The claims made Sarah sick, unstable, dangerous to unborn child, risk of harm to herself and others, accompanied by Beth's texts twisted into evidence of breakdown, therapy records, illegally obtained but anonymously leaked. The party video, analyzed by a psychiatrist who'd never met Sarah, declaring her behavior evidence of manic episode. The judge ruled at 8 in the morning. Immediate psychiatric evaluation required. Temporary restraining order. Sarah banned from Tech Corp premises. All custody matters suspended pending evaluation results. Sarah had 48 hours to prove she wasn't crazy. To a doctor, Ryan's lawyers would choose, using metrics they'd define. This is a trap, Kate said, reading the order. Every answer becomes evidence against you. But Sarah had no choice. Refuse the evaluation, lose custody by default. Submit to it, give them ammunition. While she debated, the FBI knocked on Kate's door. Sarah Morrison? The lead agent held up a warrant. We need to search these premises. Suspected corporate espionage and theft of trade secrets. On what grounds? Kate demanded. Anonymous tip. Classified AI technology. National security concerns. Victor Hayes, Ryan, Patricia. Someone with enough connections to trigger a federal investigation. Someone who wanted Sarah's evidence seized before she could use it. They took everything, Sarah's laptop, her phone, every document Marcus had brought, the backups, the originals. 8 years of proof disappeared into federal custody. Sarah watched from the sidewalk as agents carried out boxes. Her case, her evidence, her truth. What do we do now? Marcus asked. Sarah looked at Kate, at Marcus, at Linda, who was already on her phone with her editor. We rebuild, Sarah said. They took the evidence. They can't take what we remember. Marcus, can you recreate the documentation from memory? Some of it, but without the originals, it's just our word against his. Then we find new evidence, different evidence. Sarah touched her stomach. Felt Grace move for the first time. Tiny flutter. Life insisting. They want me to look crazy? Fine. Let's show them what happens when a Morrison woman has nothing left to lose. But she didn't know yet, didn't understand the depths they'd go. The trap was bigger than she imagined, and it was about to spring shut. Dr. Harrison Wolfe had dead eyes and a smile that never reached them. Ryan's lawyers had chosen well. The psychiatric evaluation took place in a sterile office that smelled like clinical detachment and predetermined outcomes. Tell me about your relationship with reality, Dr. Wolfe said. Pen poised over notepad, recording device running. Sarah sat across from him, 6 weeks pregnant, exhausted, and aware this was theater. My reality is that my husband stole my work and is now trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm unstable. Gaslight. Interesting word choice. Do you often feel persecuted? I am being persecuted. There's a difference. What's there? He made a note. Your therapy records indicate anxiety, depression, difficulty managing stress. My mother died of cancer when I was 24. I sought help processing grief. That's not mental illness. That's mental health. Yet you've been in therapy for 8 years. Consistent treatment suggests ongoing issues. Every answer was quicksand. Defend herself, sound defensive. Admit struggles, sound unstable. Sarah realized halfway through that winning was impossible. This evaluation existed to provide ammunition, not truth. After 2 hours, she stood. I'm done. We have 3 hours scheduled. And I'm exercising my right to leave. Write whatever report you plan to write anyway. She walked out. Kate was in the waiting room. That bad? Kate asked. Worse. He's not evaluating me. He's building a case. Dr. Wolfe's report arrived the next day. Patient exhibited paranoid delusions, refused to cooperate, showed signs of persecution, complex, and emotional instability. Recommendation: intensive psychiatric treatment before custody considerations. The media picked it up within hours. Someone leaked it. Someone always leaked in Ryan's world. The headlines shifted. Troubled tech wife fails psych eval. Questions mount about Sarah Morrison's mental state. Is the pregnancy real or another manipulation? Public opinion turned. The comments sections filled with the armchair diagnoses, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic rage, postpartum psychosis before the baby was even born. Sarah watched her character assassination go viral. Watched strangers dissect her sanity. Watched the narrative twist until she became the villain in her own story. Jennifer Hartford published again, this time quoting anonymous sources very close to the family. Sarah had always been jealous of Ryan's success. She'd pressured him to marry her. The pregnancy was probably a lie to trap him. Or worse, not his baby at all. Beth, every quote screamed Beth's voice. The sister who'd pretended friendship while reporting every vulnerable moment. Marcus tried to contact MIT about their original documentation. The university refused to get involved. Patricia's family had donated $50 million to the engineering school. Declining to comment, the dean said, can't take sides in a private dispute. Yale said the same. $50 million buys a lot of institutional silence. Linda wrote her expose. The woman who built TechCorp. Sarah Morrison's untold story. Documented, sourced, irrefutable. Her editor killed it. I'm sorry, Linda said, staring at her screen in disbelief. They're citing liability concerns, threat of lawsuit. The publisher's insurance won't cover it. Patricia got to them, and Kate said. Patricia gets to everyone. Sarah sat in Kate's apartment watching her support system crumble. Marcus blackballed from academic circles. Linda's article dead. Kate facing ethics complaints about representing a friend. Maybe I should take the deal, Sarah said quietly. What deal? Ryan's lawyer called. Full custody to him. I leave the state, never contact the baby. They drop all charges. Absolutely not. Kate's voice was steel. What's the alternative? Fight and lose? Go to prison? Have Grace taken away anyway? Sarah's voice cracked. At least this way she's alive. Safe, even if I'm not there. You think Ryan will be a good father? No, but Patricia will raise her, and Patricia raises survivors. Marcus shook his head. Sarah, you're the survivor. You're Elizabeth Morrison's daughter. Don't quit now. But Sarah was so tired. Tired of fighting, tired of losing, tired of watching everyone who helped her get destroyed. That night, Beth visited. She came to Kate's apartment at 11 p.m., mascara running, voice shaking, performance perfect. Sarah, I'm so sorry. Beth grabbed her hands. I had no idea Mom would go this far. I want to help. Sarah wanted to believe her, wanted one ally in Ryan's family, wanted the sister she'd thought she had for 8 years. How can you help? I'll testify against Ryan, against Mom. I'll tell the court everything. How they planned this, how they fabricated evidence, how they're trying to destroy you. Why would you do that? Because you're my sister. Blood doesn't always make family. You were more family to me than they ever were. Sarah cried, from relief, from exhaustion, from desperate hope. She told Beth everything. The pregnancy complications she hadn't shared with anyone. The bleeding she'd had at 10 weeks. The doctor's warnings about stress. Her fear that fighting might cost Grace her life. Beth held her, comforted her, listened to every word, and recorded every confession. The video dropped 2 days later, Sarah and Marcus. Except it wasn't Sarah and Marcus. It was AI-generated footage so convincing that Sarah's own eyes couldn't see the fake. The video showed them embracing, intimate, the kind of closeness that suggested more than friendship. The audio was worse. Sarah's voice, synthesized perfectly. We'll take everything from Ryan. He deserves to suffer. Marcus's voice, equally fake. The baby gives us leverage. He'll pay millions. Sarah's voice again. That's the point. The pregnancy was always the insurance policy. Timestamp. 2 weeks ago, the video went viral faster than the party footage. 20 million views in 6 hours. 50 million by morning. The narrative shifted completely. Sarah Morrison wasn't a victim. She was a con artist. A woman who'd planned this from the beginning. Who'd gotten pregnant deliberately as leverage. Who was having an affair with her lab partner and trying to steal her husband's company through false claims. Ryan's lawyers filed immediately. Emergency motion, proof of infidelity, questions of paternity, court-ordered DNA testing upon birth, Marcus arrested on conspiracy charges, corporate espionage, fraud. Dr. Rebecca Stern, Sarah's actual therapist, tried to testify to provide evidence of Sarah's stability, but her testimony was compromised now. Of course she'd defend her patient, the patient who'd been lying to her for years. Kate's law license was suspended. Ethics violation, representing a friend in a case involving fraud, conflict of interest they'd fabricated but made stick. Linda lost her job. Her newspaper couldn't afford the liability. The publisher made it clear, drop the story or lose everything. Sarah sat alone in Kate's apartment. Kate couldn't practice law. Marcus was in jail. Linda was unemployed. Rebecca's testimony was worthless. Amber had vanished. Every ally destroyed. And the deepfake was so perfect that even Sarah's friends questioned if it was real. The medical crisis started at 2 in the morning. Blood. Too much blood. Sarah stumbled to the bathroom and saw red spreading, felt cramping that stole her breath. Kate drove her to the emergency room at 90 miles per hour, breaking every traffic law, not caring. The ultrasound technician's face said everything. There's the heartbeat, she said. Baby's alive. But you have placental abruption. Early stage, the stress is causing complications. The doctor was blunt. Complete bed rest, zero stress, or you will lose this baby. I have a custody hearing in 5 days. If you go to that hearing, you risk miscarriage. If you don't go, what happens? I lose custody by default. The doctor looked at Sarah's chart, at the notes about the case. the media coverage that had reached even here. Then I'm sorry. You're choosing between fighting for custody and keeping your baby alive. Sarah lay in the hospital bed. High-risk pregnancy ward. Monitors beeping. Grace's heartbeat steady but threatened. Her own heartbeat racing with panic. She'd walked out of that anniversary party thinking she'd won. Shut down the room, exposed the truth, taken back her power. But she'd walked into a trap. Every move she'd made, they'd anticipated. Every ally she'd gathered, they'd destroyed. Every truth she'd spoken, they'd twisted into lies. And now she had to choose. Fight and risk Grace, or surrender and lose everything. This was how they won, not by being stronger, by making the cost of fighting too high. Sarah touched her stomach, felt Grace move. Tiny flutter of life that depended entirely on Sarah's choices. "I'm sorry, baby girl," Sarah whispered. "I'm so sorry." The lawyers would call it maternal instinct, choosing the baby over the fight. But Sarah knew the truth. This was defeat. Pure and simple. The first real defeat of her life. Maybe the Morrison women did break after all, when the weight got heavy enough, when the fight cost everything. Sarah closed her eyes and tried to imagine a world where she gave up, where she signed away her rights, where Grace grew up thinking her mother abandoned her. That world felt like drowning, but fighting felt like killing them both. There had to be another way. Some option she couldn't see yet, some path that saved them both. She just had to survive long enough to find it. Sarah spent 3 days in the hospital bed watching her life burn on social media. The deepfake video had done its job. Public opinion had shifted completely. She wasn't a victim. She was a villain. The hospital room felt like prison. White walls, beeping monitors, Grace's heartbeat steady on the ultrasound machine, Sarah's blood pressure dangerously high. The doctor had been clear, was to risk everything, but rest meant surrender. And Sarah Morrison didn't know how to surrender. Kate visited every day despite the ethics charges, brought fresh clothes, legal updates, bad news wrapped in sympathy. "Marcus is being held without bail," Kate said. "Federal charges, corporate espionage. They're saying he helped you plan this from the beginning." "That's insane. Marcus had nothing to do with any of this." "The deepfake," says authorities. "And deepfakes are admissible as evidence now if you can't prove they're fake. Without the original files the FBI seized, we can't prove anything." Sarah stared at the ceiling. "So they create false evidence, and we can't disprove it because they stole our real evidence. Perfect trap." "Sarah, there's something else." Kate pulled out her tablet. "The custody hearing is tomorrow. If you don't appear, you lose by default. If you do appear, you risk the baby." "What would you do?" "I'd fight, but I'm not pregnant. I'm not high risk. I'm not choosing between two impossible things." Sarah touched her stomach, felt Grace move. Strong now, fighting to live just like her mother. She deserves better than this, better than a mother who gave up, better than a father who's a thief. Then what do we do? Before Sarah could answer, her phone buzzed. Encrypted message from an unknown number. "They did it to me, too. Victor Hayes destroys everyone. Meet me, Riverside Park. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Come alone. Delete this message." Sarah showed Kate. "It's a trap. Or it's help. We don't have many options left." "I'm on bed rest. I can't go to a park." "Then I'll go." "No, they want me. If it's real, they'll only talk to me. If it's a trap, I won't let you walk into it." Sarah made a decision, the kind of decision that either saves everything or destroys what's left. "I'm going." Sarah, the baby. The baby needs a mother who fights, not one who hides in a hospital bed waiting to lose. Sarah pulled out her IV, hospital gown replaced with real clothes. "Call me a car. I'm checking myself out." The doctor tried to stop her, warned about risks, liability, medical consequences. Sarah signed the forms that said she understood, that she was leaving against medical advice, that whatever happened next was her responsibility. Kate drove her to Riverside Park, 3 in the afternoon. October wind cold off the water. Sarah wore a coat that hid her pregnancy, sunglasses that hid her face. She'd become famous for all the wrong reasons. The park was nearly empty. Dog walkers, joggers. No one paid attention to the pregnant woman sitting on a bench near the fountain. At 3:15, Amber Sinclair sat down beside her. Sarah's hand went instinctively to her phone. Emergency dial ready. But Amber looked terrified, hair tucked under a baseball cap. No makeup. Bruises on her wrist that looked like someone had grabbed her hard. "Don't run," Amber said quietly. "Please, I'm not here to hurt you." "You already did. You destroyed my marriage. Helped steal my company. Why would I trust anything you say?" "Because I'm pregnant too." Amber's voice cracked. "Victor Hayes' baby, and he told me to handle it or disappear. I know what disappear means." Sarah looked at her, really looked. Saw the fear, the exhaustion, the look of someone trapped. "Why should I believe you?" "Because we're both being used by billionaire men who think we're disposable." Amber pulled out a phone. Not hers, a burner. "I recorded everything, every conversation with Victor, every payment from Patricia, every instruction to seduce Ryan and steal the military contract." She pressed play. Victor Hayes' voice filled the air between them. "I want Ryan Mitchell destroyed. His company, his reputation, his life. Your job is to seduce him, get close, steal the AI contract specs, and frame his wife for the theft. Patricia Mitchell is paying you $500,000. I'm paying you another $500,000. $1 million to destroy a marriage. Easy money," Amber's voice on the recording. "And if Sarah figures it out?" Victor's response was ice. "Then we have contingencies. The deepfake is already prepared. We have her hospital records, her therapy files. Beth Mitchell has been feeding us information for years. Sarah Morrison will be discredited completely." Patricia's voice joined the conversation. "I want her destroyed. She's trailer trash who trapped my son with false promises and stolen ideas. Make sure everyone knows what she really is." Sarah's hands shook. The recording continued. Plans laid out in detail. The anniversary party setup, the psychiatric evaluation, the FBI raid, all of it coordinated, months of planning. "Why are you giving me this?" Sarah asked. "Because Victor doesn't pay his debts. He promised me money and protection. Instead, he got me pregnant and told me to get rid of it. When I refused, he said I was a loose end." Amber touched her stomach. "I'm 8 weeks along, about to become another woman Victor Hayes makes disappear. So you'll testify? Give this evidence to the FBI?" "If I testify, Victor kills me. He's done it before. I have proof of 3 other women who worked for him, who knew too much, who disappeared." Amber's eyes were haunted. "But if we work together, if we expose everything at once, maybe we both survive." Sarah looked at the woman who'd destroyed her marriage, saw another victim, another pawn in games billionaire men played with women's lives. "What do you need from me?" "Immunity, witness protection, a guarantee that when this goes public, the FBI protects me instead of silencing me." "I can't promise that. I have no power left." "You have truth, and truth recorded as evidence." Amber handed her the phone. "That's a copy. I have 3 more hidden. If anything happens to me, they go public automatically. But I need you to take this to someone who can actually do something with it." Linda Walsh, the journalist who'd lost her job trying to tell Sarah's story, who had connections, who knew how to make evidence matter. "I know someone," Sarah said. "But Amber, if this is another setup, if you're working with them, then I'm the stupidest spy in history, sitting in a public park confessing everything." Amber stood. "I'm tired of being used. Tired of powerful men thinking they own us. Your husband stole from you. Victor's trying to kill me. Maybe together we stop them both." She walked away, baseball cap pulled low, disappearing into the park like she'd never been there. Sarah sat holding the phone. Evidence that could destroy Victor Hayes, prove Patricia's conspiracy, exonerate Marcus, save her case. Or it was an elaborate trap, another move in a game she couldn't see. She called Linda. "I need you. Riverside Park, now, and bring your best recorder." Linda arrived 20 minutes later, listened to the audio, watched the color drain from her face. "This is Pulitzer-level evidence," Linda said. "This is RICO charges, conspiracy, corporate espionage at the federal level. If this is real, Victor Hayes and Patricia Mitchell are going to prison. Can you verify it? Audio analysis? Something to prove it's not another deepfake? I know people, forensic audio experts. If this is real, they'll confirm it. If it's fake, we'll know. They spent the next 12 hours working. Linda's forensic expert confirmed the audio was genuine. Voice patterns matched. No signs of AI generation. The phone's metadata showed months of recordings, conversations that referenced events before they happened. It was real. All of it. Linda wrote the expose, the setup, how two billionaires conspired to destroy Sarah Morrison, documented, sourced, with audio evidence that couldn't be dismissed. She published it at 6 in the morning. On her personal blog, since no newspaper would touch it, sent it to every news outlet, every social media platform, everyone who'd covered the story. Within 2 hours, it had 50 million views. The hashtag Justice for Sarah started trending. Public opinion swung again. Comments filled with outrage. How could they do this? How could Patricia and Victor coordinate such destruction? How could Beth betray her own family? Kate filed emergency motions. All charges dismissed pending investigation. Marcus released from jail. Sarah's custody rights reinstated. The team gathered at Kate's apartment. Sarah, Kate, Marcus, Linda, and Amber, who'd come out of hiding. They thought they'd won. Sarah touched her belly. It's over. We did it. Marcus hugged her carefully. You did it. You survived. Linda was already writing the follow-up article. Kate was planning the legal strategy to recover damages. Amber was calling witness protection services. They didn't see the trap until it closed. The second deepfake dropped at noon. This one was more sophisticated. Sarah and Marcus at MIT. Except Sarah had never been to MIT in the last month. The timestamp said last week, during one of her hospital stays. The video showed them in Marcus's office. Close, intimate. Audio of them planning phase 2 of taking down TechCorp. Sarah's voice, AI generated but perfect. The baby is my insurance policy. Ryan will pay millions to keep his daughter. Marcus's voice equally fake. And when we have his money, we expose everything. He loses the company, and we take the payout. The video ended with them kissing. Sarah recoiled watching it. It looked real, sounded real, was completely fabricated but convincing enough to destroy everything they'd just won. Patricia and Victor had prepared for Amber's betrayal, had backup plans, had created this deepfake weeks ago using Sarah's hospital security footage and Marcus's teaching videos. Sophisticated AI that anticipated their evidence dump. Within hours, the narrative flipped again. Linda's article was retracted by every platform. Fake news, manipulation, Sarah Morrison's elaborate con exposed. The FBI reopened the investigation, now questioning if Sarah and Marcus had fabricated the Amber recordings. If everything was part of a sophisticated scheme to steal TechCorp. Kate's emergency motions were denied. New evidence changes everything, the judge said. Marcus was arrested again. Federal charges. This time with bail set at $5 million. Money they didn't have. Linda was fired from her freelance platforms. Her blog shut down for violating terms of service. The story disappeared as fast as it had spread, and Amber vanished. Victor Hayes' people had grabbed her. No trace, no witnesses, just gone. Sarah sat in Kate's apartment, surrounded by the wreckage of false victory number 2. They'd thought the truth would win, that evidence mattered, that justice was possible. But Patricia and Victor owned the truth, manufactured it, destroyed it, rebuilt it to serve their narrative. The ultimatum arrived at 8 p.m., hand-delivered by Ryan's lawyer. Sarah read the terms. Sign over full custody to Ryan, leave Massachusetts, never contact the child, never speak publicly about TechCorp. In exchange, all charges dropped, criminal and civil. She walks away clean except for losing everything. 24 hours to decide, or they prosecute, maximum sentences. Sarah goes to prison, baby becomes ward of the state. Then Ryan gets custody anyway. The lawyer left. Sarah held the papers, the surrender document, the end of fighting. Kate's voice was gentle. What are you going to do? Sarah looked at her, at Marcus, who'd been arrested twice for being her friend, at Linda, who'd lost her career trying to tell the truth, at everyone she'd destroyed by letting them help. "I don't know," Sarah whispered. "I don't know how to stop them. How to fight people who own reality itself." Grace kicked, strong movement, running life demanding her mother fight. But Sarah was so tired of fighting, tired of losing, tired of dragging good people into her war. Maybe surrender was mercy. Maybe Grace deserved better than a mother who'd go to prison. Maybe this was the end of the Morrison women not breaking. Sarah touched her stomach and tried to find the strength her mother had promised lived in her bones. She wasn't sure it was there anymore. Midnight found Sarah sitting on Kate's bathroom floor, ultrasound photo in her hands. Grace's profile clear, tiny nose, closed eyes, alive and depending entirely on Sarah's next choice. Surrender or fight, prison or custody, truth or survival. Sarah had 24 hours to decide. The ultimatum sat on the kitchen counter, legal document that would end the war at the cost of everything. She thought about her mother, Elizabeth Morrison, who'd fought cancer with experimental treatments that made her violently sick, who'd endured 3 years past the doctor's predictions, who'd recorded a video before she died. For when you hit bottom, baby girl. Sarah hadn't watched it since the funeral. Couldn't bear hearing her mother's voice, knowing she'd never hear it again in person. The video lived on a thumb drive in Sarah's old jewelry box, the one possession she'd grabbed from the penthouse before everything fell apart. Kate knocked softly. "You okay?" "No, but I need to see something. Do you still have my jewelry box?" Kate retrieved it. Small wooden box with a cracked hinge. Inside were cheap earrings, a necklace Sarah's father had given her before he died, and the thumb drive. Sarah plugged it into Kate's laptop. The video loaded. Her mother's face filled the screen. Thin from chemo, bald under a colorful scarf, eyes fierce despite the body failing. "Hi, baby girl." Her mother's voice hit like a wave. "If you're watching this, someone powerful tried to break you. Someone looked at your light and decided to steal it." Sarah's tears started, silent, heavy. "Here's what you need to know. The world will tell you to be small, to accept less, to surrender because fighting is too hard." Her mother leaned closer to the camera. "But Morrison women don't surrender. Not to cancer, not to men who steal, not to anyone who thinks our silence is their right." Elizabeth Morrison coughed, recovered, continued. "You come from a line of women who survived. Your grandmother survived the Depression, working 3 jobs. I survived cancer 3 years longer than I should have. And you, Sarah Elizabeth, you will survive whatever made you watch this video." Her mother's hand reached toward the screen like she could touch Sarah across time and death. "Here's what you do. Stop playing defense. Stop trying to prove you deserve what's already yours. Burn their world down. Not with hate, with truth. The kind of truth they can't spin or buy or threaten into silence." Sarah wiped her eyes, listened. If you can't win their game, change the game. Go public in a way they can't control. Find the one platform they don't own. Use their weapons against them. And baby girl, if they threaten everything you love, make sure they lose everything they love too. Her mother's smile was sad, knowing, "I won't be there to help you, but you have everything you need inside you. You're half me, half your daddy, and all Morrison. We don't break, we burn, and from the ashes, we rebuild." The video ended. Sarah sat in silence, letting her mother's words settle. Kate had been watching from the doorway. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking they want me to fight in their courts, their rules, their systems they control." Sarah stood, steadier than she'd been in days. "So we changed the battlefield." "How?" "They control the courts, the media, the FBI, everything structured and official." Sarah paced, building the plan as she spoke. "But they don't control live television. They don't control what I say if there's no delay, no editors, no lawyers filtering it." Linda appeared at the doorway. She'd been sleeping in Kate's spare room since losing her apartment. "You want to go on national TV? Live. Everything. All the evidence, the recordings, the deep fake proof. Everything in one broadcast they can't stop once it starts." They'll sue you for every word. Let them. When Grace is old enough, she'll see her mother fought. That matters more than money. Marcus joined them. He'd been released on bail after Kate mortgaged her apartment. His face was gaunt from jail, his career destroyed, but his eyes held fire. I'm in. Whatever you need. Are you sure? Sarah asked. This could make things worse. If we fail, then we fail fighting. Better than watching you surrender to protect us. Kate pulled out her laptop. I have a contact at National News Network. She owes me from a case 5 years ago. If I call in every favor, maybe I can get you a live segment. They'll want a confession, something ratings friendly. Fallen woman tells all. Then we give them that. We promote it as your confession, your admission of guilt. Ryan and Patricia will want you to confess. They won't try to stop it. Linda nodded slowly. It's brilliant. They think they've won. They'll tune in to watch you surrender. Instead, you hit them with everything. We need Dr. Stern, Sarah said. Her testimony proving my mental stability. Marcus, can you get forensic audio experts to testify the Amber recording is real? Already on it. Linda, I need you to prepare the second article, the one that goes live the moment the broadcast ends. Everything documented, sources cited, no room for them to spin it. I'm writing it now. Sarah looked at her team. Kate, who'd risked her career. Marcus, who'd been arrested twice. Linda, who'd lost everything. Dr. Rebecca Stern, who'd violated confidentiality to help. Even Amber, who'd disappeared trying to do the right thing. If this works, they all go to prison. Victor, Patricia, Ryan, Beth, Derek, all of them. And if it doesn't work, Kate asked, then I go to prison, but Grace will know I tried. Sarah touched her stomach, felt movement, life assisting. That has to be enough. They worked through the night. Kate called in favors, made promises, offered exclusive rights to everything. By morning, she had it. Live interview slot, National News Network. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. prime time, 60 million viewers. Promoted as exclusive, Sarah Morrison tells all, the confession. Ryan's lawyer called within hours. Don't try to stop it. My client wants the truth to come out. Of course he did. He thought Sarah was confessing. Thought she'd give up on live television. Public surrender that would end the war. They had no idea. Sarah spent the day preparing, reviewing evidence, memorizing timelines, working with Dr. Stern on how to present the psychological warfare proof. Marcus gathered audio experts. Linda finished the article. Kate pulled Sarah aside at 6 p.m., 2 hours before broadcast. Are you ready? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Sarah, if this goes wrong, if they arrest you on live TV, then Grace knows her mother tried. That's all I can give her. Kate hugged her, careful of the belly. Your mother would be proud. My mother would tell me to burn them all. That's the plan. At 7 p.m., they arrived at the studio. Sarah wore a professional suit that hid how pregnant she was. Hair done, makeup perfect, looking like the victim she was, the survivor she'd become. The host, Catherine Williams, met her in the green room. Thank you for doing this. We're expecting record viewership. Everyone wants to hear your side. They're going to get it. At 7:59, Sarah sat in the interview chair. Lights hot, cameras rolling, 60 million people watching live. No delay, no editing. What she said would air immediately. Catherine's introduction was standard. The story so far, the accusations, the counter-accusations, the nation divided. Then she turned to Sarah. Sarah Morrison, thank you for agreeing to this interview. Tonight we want the truth. Tell us in your own words what happened. Sarah looked directly at the camera. 60 million people watching, Ryan watching, Patricia watching, Victor Hayes watching, all of them thinking they'd won. The truth, Sarah said, starts with a lie. And that lie is that my husband built Tech Corp. She pressed play on the laptop beside her. Yale lab footage from 2014. Sarah and Marcus working on AI algorithms. Timestamps. Documentation. Ryan nowhere in sight. Tech Corp wasn't built in Ryan Mitchell's Harvard dorm. It was built in my Yale lab while my mother was dying of cancer. Catherine tried to interrupt. These allegations have been disputed. Not allegations. Facts. Sarah played the licensing agreement. Ryan's signature. Use of Morrison-Taylor algorithm. Then the real evidence. Amber's recordings. Victor Hayes' voice filled the studio. Every living room in America. I want Ryan Mitchell destroyed. Your job is to seduce him and frame his wife. Patricia's voice. She's trailer trash who trapped my son. Make sure everyone knows. The audio played for 20 minutes. Plans laid out. Conspiracies documented. Beth's betrayal. Derek's embezzlement. The deepfake company invoices. Everything. Catherine's face went pale. This wasn't the confession she'd expected. Sarah didn't stop. Brought up Dr. Stern via remote video. Professional testimony about psychological warfare. About systematic gaslighting. About Sarah's proven mental stability. Audio experts testified the recordings were genuine. That the deepfakes of Sarah were fabricated. That the evidence Patricia and Victor had used was manufactured. Then Sarah played the DNA test results. 99.99% match. Grace was Ryan's daughter. Not that it mattered to them. The broadcast was supposed to be 30 minutes. It ran 90. Catherine had stopped trying to control it. This was news happening live. History being made. Sarah looked into the camera, directly at America. I'm a woman who built something beautiful. An AI that could save lives. My husband stole it. His mother tried to destroy me for being working class. A billionaire rival weaponized everything. They almost won. She touched her stomach. Let America see. They had money, power, connections, but they forgot something. The truth doesn't need $1 billion. It just needs a microphone. And you just gave me one. The studio was silent. Then Catherine found her voice. Sarah Morrison, thank you for your courage. The hashtag Sarah Morrison Truth started trending during the broadcast. By the time Sarah left the studio, it was #1 globally. Linda's article went live simultaneously. Every piece of evidence documented, time-stamped, sourced, impossible to deny. And America watched the FBI arrive at Patricia's house live on news cameras, watched Victor Hayes get arrested at his office, watched Ryan taken from TechCorp in handcuffs. Beth was picked up at her apartment, Derek Stone at his home, all of them arrested on charges that would send them to prison for decades. Sarah watched from the studio green room, Kate beside her, Marcus on one side, Linda on the other. Dr. Stern on video call celebrating. We did it, Kate said. We actually did it. But Sarah felt something wrong, a tightening in her belly, pressure building. Kate, she said quietly, something's wrong. The pain hit, sharp, overwhelming. Sarah doubled over. Hospital, Marcus shouted. Now! They rushed her to the emergency room, sirens blaring, Sarah clutching her stomach, praying, don't take her. Not now, not when we finally won. But Grace had other plans. 36 weeks pregnant, high risk, chronic stress, placental abruption critical. We need emergency C-section, the doctor said. Now, we might lose them both. Sarah, barely conscious, heard Kate's voice, Marcus's voice, begging her to fight. Save Grace, Sarah whispered. Promise me. We'll save you both, the doctor said. But you need to fight. So Sarah fought, because Morrison women don't surrender. They burn, they survive, they win, even when winning looks like dying. The operating room lights were too bright. Sarah felt herself slipping, heard monitors beeping, felt hands moving fast, surgical precision fighting against time and trauma. Grace came first, 4 pounds of fight wrapped in premature lungs, not breathing. The NICU team swarmed her tiny body, working, desperate. Sarah heard crying, weak but there, her daughter's voice. Then the hemorrhaging started, blood pressure dropping. Sarah felt cold spreading through her limbs, heard the doctor's voice urgent, calling for units. More hands, fighting to save the mother now. Kate's voice from outside the operating room. Is she alive? Tell me she's alive. Sarah wanted to answer, wanted to say she was fighting, but the darkness pulled heavy. Her mother's face swam in her vision. Elizabeth Morrison, smiling. Your job's not done yet, baby girl. Get back in there. Sarah's eyes opened. Monitors stabilized. The doctor's face showed relief. You're okay. You're both okay. Grace, where are you? Nikki, you, critical but stable. She's a fighter. Like her mother, like her grandmother. Morrison women all the way down. Sarah woke in ICU. Kate sleeping in a chair beside her. Marcus outside the room. Linda on her laptop already writing the follow-up. Grace? Sarah's voice was ragged. Kate jerked awake. Stable, 3 pounds, 15 ounces. Breathing on her own now. They moved her off the ventilator 2 hours ago. Can I see her? Doctor wants you stable first, but soon. Sarah looked at the ceiling, felt the absence where her pregnancy had been, the empty space that meant Grace was out there, in the world, real and breathing and hers. What happened while I was under? Kate pulled up her phone, showed Sarah the news. Ryan arrested, Patricia arrested, Victor Hayes led away in handcuffs, Beth crying as federal agents took her, Derek Stone already negotiating a plea deal. The charges were staggering. Corporate espionage, fraud, witness tampering, conspiracy, RICO violations, attempted child trafficking for the custody grab. They're saying 20 years minimum, Kate said, for Ryan, more for Victor and Patricia. They found evidence of 12 other women Victor had destroyed, 3 who disappeared completely. This goes way beyond us. Amber? FBI found her. Victor's people had her in a safe house. She's in witness protection now, testifying against all of them. Sarah closed her eyes, felt tears come, relief, exhaustion, victory tasting like survival. The board voted Ryan out of Tech Corp, Marcus said from the doorway. Emergency session. They're offering you 75% of the company assets. Full control, your IP back, everything. I don't want Tech Corp. It's built on lies. Then burn it down and start over. But Sarah, you won against impossible odds, against billionaires and conspiracies and systems designed to protect them. You won. 3 days later, Sarah was strong enough to visit the NICU. Grace lay in an incubator. Tiny, perfect, eyes closed, breathing steady, tubes and monitors tracking every vital sign. Sarah reached through the opening, touched her daughter's hand. Grace's fingers wrapped around Sarah's thumb. Instinct, connection, the beginning of everything. Hi, baby girl, Sarah whispered. Mommy's here, we made it. Grace's eyes opened, dark blue, unfocused but seeing, looking at her mother for the first time. Sarah cried, didn't care who saw. This was what she'd fought for. This moment, this life, this daughter who would grow up knowing her mother never surrendered. 7 days after the broadcast, the sentencing began. Derek Stone went first, turned state's evidence against everyone, got 15 years for embezzlement and evidence tampering. Beth got 5 years probation. Community service. The prosecutors went easy because she was young, manipulated by Patricia. Sarah didn't argue. Beth would live with her choices. That was punishment enough. Victor Hayes got 35 years. RICO charges included the other women, the disappeared ones, the evidence of systematic destruction. He'd die in prison, old, forgotten, powerless. Patricia Mitchell got 12 years. Conspiracy, fraud, witness tampering. Her old money connections couldn't save her. Her society friends abandoned her. She'd spend her golden years in federal prison watching her empire crumble. Ryan's trial was last. Sarah attended, not to gloat, to close the chapter. To see the man who'd stolen from her face consequences. Ryan looked different, thinner, older. The narcissism burned away, leaving something hollow. He wouldn't look at Sarah when she entered the courtroom. The evidence was overwhelming. Embezzlement, corporate espionage, witness tampering, 18 years federal prison. Before sentencing, Ryan asked to make a statement. The judge allowed it. Ryan stood, still wouldn't look at Sarah. I stole from my wife, abused her trust, tried to take our daughter. I was an empty man trying to fill myself with her light. His voice cracked. Sarah Morrison is extraordinary. I was too blind to see it, too narcissistic to value it, too weak to deserve it. He finally looked at her, really looked. I'm signing over all parental rights, everything I own, Tech Corp assets, the money, all of it. Grace deserves a mother like you. I'll never be a father she needs. A single tear fell, First genuine emotion Sarah had seen in years. I'm sorry. Those words are worthless, but they're all I have. The judge sentenced him. 18 years. Ryan was led away in handcuffs, broken, powerless, facing decades thinking about what he'd destroyed. Sarah felt nothing, no triumph, no satisfaction, just tired, ready for this chapter to end. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Sarah gave one statement. Justice isn't just about punishment. It's about truth. Today, truth won. For me, for Grace, for every woman who's been stolen from, lied about, and told she's crazy for fighting back. We're not crazy. We're just done being silent. She walked to the car where Kate waited, where Marcus had the baby carrier ready, where Linda was documenting everything for the book she'd write. Ready to go home? Kate asked. Sarah looked back at the courthouse, at the cameras, at the empire she'd toppled. Yeah, I'm ready. 3 weeks later, Grace came home from the NICU, 5 pounds, 2 ounces, healthy, strong, perfect. Sarah's penthouse was new, bought with settlement money, bright, warm, filled with photos and hope and future. Grace's nursery had stars painted on the ceiling, a rocking chair where Sarah sat at 3 a.m. feeding her daughter, learning how to be a mother, how to survive on no sleep, how to love something more than revenge. The TechCorp settlement was $47 million. Sarah took it and started over. Morrison Taylor Technologies, 50-50 partnership with Marcus, built on truth this time, innovation with integrity. The company mission statement on every wall. Kate became general counsel. Linda left journalism to run communications. Dr. Rebecca Stern became chief wellness officer. Mental health mattering in tech. The military contract that Ryan had lost came to them. $400 million. The largest AI defense contract in history. Awarded to the woman everyone said was crazy, unstable, lying. 6 months after the trial, Morrison Taylor Technologies was valued at $1.8 billion, built honestly, without theft, just brilliant minds doing brilliant work. Sarah balanced it all, CEO by day, mother by night, Grace growing fast, learning to smile, to laugh, to grab at Sarah's face with tiny hands. On Grace's first birthday, they had a small party. Kate and her Sherman's family, Marcus and his wife, Linda's kids, Dr. Stern, everyone who'd stood by Sarah when standing cost everything. The cake said Grace Elizabeth Morrison. 1 year of miracles. Kate raised a glass. To Sarah, who taught us that power isn't about money. Marcus added, it's about truth. Linda smiled. And courage. Stern finished. In surviving what should have broken you. Sarah picked up Grace, held her close, felt her daughter's heartbeat against her chest. Life winning, love winning, truth winning against everything. She'd written a letter to read to Grace when she was older, to explain, to teach, to warn. But tonight she read it aloud to her friends, her family, the people who had fought beside her. My darling Grace, you were born in a war. Your father and his family tried to destroy us because I refused to stay small. They forgot something. Your grandmother Morrison survived cancer 3 years past predictions. Your mother survived a conspiracy that should have destroyed her. You come from women who don't break. Sarah's voice steadied. One day, someone will try to make you feel small. They'll say you're too much or not enough. They'll try to steal your light. Remember this story. Remember that truth is louder than money, that justice is stronger than power, that love, real love, protects. She kissed Grace's head. Your father gave me you, then tried to take you away. I fought heaven and earth to keep you. Never doubt, you are worth fighting for. I love you more than yesterday, less than tomorrow, exactly enough right now. Grace laughed, perfect baby sound, unaware of the war that brought her here. The battles fought, the empire toppled, the truth that won. She just knew her mother's voice, her mother's heartbeat, her mother's love, and that was enough. That was everything. Sarah Morrison had shut down the room, survived the war, built an empire from ashes. But her greatest victory wasn't money or justice or vindication. It was the small hand wrapped around her finger, the daughter sleeping on her chest, the future growing in a house built on truth. They tried to bury her. They didn't know she was a seed, and seeds grow into forests. Sarah looked at her found family, at Grace sleeping peacefully, at the life she'd built from ruins. "Thank you," she said simply, "for not letting me surrender, for fighting when I couldn't, for believing the truth mattered." Kate smiled. "We didn't save you. You saved yourself. We just held the door open." "Then thank you for that, for being the door when I needed escape, for being the light when everything went dark." The party continued. Grace woke up and demanded attention. Everyone took turns holding her, taking photos, celebrating life after war. Sarah stood at the window looking at Boston's skyline. Somewhere out there, Ryan sat in prison, Patricia learning what powerless felt like, Victor Hayes dying slowly behind bars. She felt no triumph, just tired relief, the kind that comes after surviving. Her phone rang, unknown number. She almost didn't answer, still had PTSD from the war, but something made her pick up. Sarah Morrison speaking. "Ms. Morrison, this is the White House. The President would like to discuss your ethics AI proposal for federal implementation." Sarah looked at Grace, at Kate, at Marcus, at Linda, at the family built from fire. "Tell the President I'll need to bring my daughter to the meeting. We're a package deal." Grace giggled on cue, perfect timing. "Of course," the voice said. "The President understands. We'll arrange appropriate accommodation." Sarah hung up, stared at the phone. "What was that?" Kate asked. "The White House. They want to discuss implementing our deepfake detection AI federally, making it available to everyone. So what happened to me can't happen to others." "That's huge." "Yeah." Sarah picked up Grace, held her close. "Mommy's going to meet the President, baby girl, and you're coming with me, because that's what Morrison women do. We don't hide, we show up, we change the world." Grace grabbed Sarah's nose, pulled hard, laughed when Sarah yelped. Everyone laughed, the sound filling the apartment. Joy after darkness, hope after despair, life insisting despite everything. Sarah kissed Grace's head, breathed in baby smell, new life, new chances, new world. They tried to bury her. They didn't know she was a seed, and from that seed grew a forest, strong, unbreakable, alive. Morrison women don't surrender. They burn. They survive. They win. Always. 18 months after the broadcast, Sarah stood before 1,000 people at Morrison Taylor Technologies headquarters. Grace sat in the audience, 18 months old, pointing at mommy on the big screen with toddler pride. "2 years ago, I was told I was worthless," Sarah began. "Today, I'm CEO of a company valued at $2.3 billion, built honestly, without theft, with integrity at every level." The crowd erupted in applause. Sarah waited for silence. "We're launching Ethics AI, technology that detects deepfakes in real time, available free to domestic violence survivors, whistleblowers, anyone fighting systems designed to silence them." The screens displayed the software working. "This exists because I was nearly destroyed by AI weaponized against me. Now we have tools to fight back." Standing ovation. Grace toddled toward the stage. Sarah picked her up. "Let America see them together. Mother and daughter. Proof that truth wins." Grace grabbed the microphone. "Mama!" The crowd laughed. This was real. This was what victory looked like. That evening, Dr. Rebecca Stern arrived at Sarah's penthouse carrying files. "I've been treating women who've been through similar situations. 73 have come forward, all with stories like yours." Sarah flipped through redacted files. Brilliant women destroyed by powerful men. Mental health weaponized. Children threatened. Deepfakes used as weapons. "They want to file a class action lawsuit," Rebecca said, "against deepfake companies, against the legal system that enables this. They want you to lead it." Sarah thought about Grace sleeping in the next room, about the peace she'd finally found. Leading this means more battles, more publicity, more pain. It also means no woman goes through this alone. It means changing systems, making deepfakes inadmissible as evidence. Rebecca's eyes were fierce. "You didn't survive just to stop fighting. You survived to make fighting unnecessary for the next generation." Sarah looked at Grace's baby monitor, watched her daughter sleep peacefully. Okay, I'm in, but we do it right. Proper legal team, mental health support, no one destroyed by helping. They worked until 3 in the morning, planning the case that would change everything. By morning, Kate had assembled the team. Linda was documenting. The class action lawsuit was ready. Morrison versus America, 73 women and counting. The press conference at 10 was standing room only. 20 women stood behind Sarah, survivors showing their faces. My name is Sarah Morrison. 2 years ago, I was nearly destroyed by deepfake technology. I survived. But 73 other women are fighting the same battle. Today, we're filing suit to make deepfakes inadmissible as evidence, to hold companies accountable, to change laws that protect abusers while destroying victims. Questions erupted. Sarah answered them all, patient, clear, unafraid. This was her purpose. Not revenge, reform. Making sure Grace grew up in a world where women's truth mattered, where technology couldn't be weaponized without consequences. Marcus stopped by her office that afternoon. This lawsuit will take years, cost millions, make you a target again. I know. And you're still doing it? Sarah watched Grace play with blocks, building, knocking down, laughing, building again. She deserves better. 73 women deserve justice. Morrison women don't surrender. That night, after Grace fell asleep, Sarah's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Then she recognized it. Amber. Thank you for the lawsuit. I'm number 74. Can I join? Sarah typed back immediately. Yes. Welcome to the fight. We're stronger together. Amber's response came fast. I have more evidence. About Victor. About others. Women who disappeared. If we're burning it down, let's burn it all. Sarah smiled. Fierce and ready. Burn it all. Exactly. The Morrison women were done being buried. Time to show the world what happens when seeds become forests, when survivors become warriors, when truth becomes unstoppable. Grace stirred in her sleep. Sarah went to her, kissed her forehead. Mama's fighting for you, baby girl, for every girl who comes after. So you never have to survive what I survived, so you can just thrive. Grace smiled in her sleep, safe, loved, protected by a mother who'd learned that sometimes the greatest victories aren't won in boardrooms or courtrooms. They're won in nurseries, in quiet moments, in promises kept to daughters who deserve better worlds. Sarah returned to her laptop, opened the case files. 74 women now, more joining every day. Each one a story, each one a battle, each one worth fighting. Morrison women don't surrender. They multiply. They organize, they change the world. And this was just beginning. The courtroom was packed. Morrison versus Deep Media Solutions. Class action representing 89 women, stories of deepfakes destroying custody, careers, credibility. All seeking justice. Sarah sat at the plaintiff's table. Kate beside her. Behind them, rows of survivors. Women who'd lost everything to AI-generated lies. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Expert testimony proving deepfakes were undetectable to average viewers. Psychologists explaining systematic trauma. Victims showing the wreckage. Sarah testified for 8 hours, walked the jury through her war. The conspiracy, the deepfakes that nearly stole Grace. The system that protected powerful men while destroying competent women. She didn't cry, didn't break, just spoke truth. The defense painted her as vindictive. Kate destroyed them with facts, documented abuse, recorded evidence, proof that Sarah was a survivor demanding reform, not revenge. Kate's closing argument was surgical. Sarah Morrison isn't asking for revenge. She's asking for accountability, for laws that protect victims, for a world where truth matters more than money. She gestured to the gallery. These 89 women trusted the system. The system failed them. Today, you can change that. The jury deliberated 3 days. The verdict came at noon on Wednesday. Guilty on all counts. $670 million awarded. Precedent set that deepfakes required extraordinary authentication before admission as evidence. The courtroom erupted. Women crying, hugging, justice finally real. Outside, Sarah gave one statement. Today, truth won. For every woman gaslit, and called crazy for fighting back. We're not crazy. We're survivors demanding better. This is just the beginning. 60 days later, settlement money arrived. 7.5 million to Sarah. She donated 5 million to domestic violence organizations, kept the rest for Grace's future. Security, freedom, choice. Morrison Taylor Technologies continued growing. 3.1 billion valuation, military contracts, private sector deals. Every dollar earned honestly. Sarah balanced CEO and mother, Grace growing fast, 2 years old, strong-willed, stubborn, Morrison through and through. One evening, Sarah opened the video file she'd avoided, Ryan's prison message from 6 months into his sentence. Ryan's face filled the screen. Each this all haunted. Sarah, I destroyed the best thing in my life because I couldn't see its value. I stole from you, abused your trust. I was empty trying to fill myself with your light. Real tears fell. I've had 2 years to think. I was raised to value winning over everything, to see people as resources. I became everything Patricia taught me and destroyed everything that mattered. He leaned forward. Grace won't know me. She shouldn't. You're an extraordinary mother. She's lucky to have you. Pause. I signed over everything, not because courts made me, because it's right. You built Tech Corp. You deserve everything. I'm just sorry. Those words are worthless, but they're all I have. The video ended. Sarah felt no satisfaction, no triumph, just tired acceptance. Ryan was a cautionary tale, a lesson about ego without integrity, about what happens when winning matters more than truth. She saved the video for Grace. Someday her daughter would ask about her father, would deserve honest answers. But tonight Sarah filed it away, the past where it belonged. She walked to Grace's room, watched her sleep. Perfect, peaceful, loved. This was victory, not Ryan in prison, not money or vindication. This, a child sleeping safely, a mother who survived, a future built on truth. Sarah kissed Grace's forehead. Sweet dreams, baby girl. Mama's here, always. Her phone buzzed. Email from the White House, following up on ethics AI federal implementation. They wanted to move forward, nationwide protection. Sarah scheduled the meeting. Grace would come, because Morrison women show up, change systems, make the world better. She opened her journal. Final entry about the trial. They tried to bury me, stole my work, attacked my sanity, tried to take Grace, but they forgot. Morrison women don't surrender. We burn, we survive, we rebuild, and from ashes, we create something better. Grace will grow up in a world I helped change, where deepfakes are illegal as evidence, where women's truth matters. That's victory, not revenge, reform, making sure the next generation doesn't fight our wars. That's what we do, fight so they don't have to. Sarah closed the journal. Tomorrow was another day, more work, more mothering, the beautiful exhaustion of life rebuilt. They tried to bury her. They didn't know she was a seed, and from that seed grew forests, strong, unbreakable, protecting all who needed shelter, forever. 5 years after the broadcast, Sarah stood at her office window. Grace was 6 now, first grade, learning that her mother was someone who changed the world. Morrison Taylor Technologies had grown beyond imagination. 7.2 billion valuation, 12 countries, 3,000 employees, all built on integrity. Ethics AI was federally mandated. Every American court used it. Deepfakes required authentication before admission. The burden shifted, victims protected instead of destroyed. The class action had grown. 89 women became 317. More survivors finding courage. The Morrison Doctrine, they called it. Truth over technology. Sarah's phone rang. Kate calling. Turn on the news. Sarah grabbed the remote. National News Network. Breaking story. Congress passes the Morrison Act. Deepfakes used as evidence require extraordinary authentication. Victims protected with presumption of innocence. Companies creating weaponized AI face criminal liability. Named after Sarah Morrison, the woman who changed American law. Sarah sat hard. Her name, her fight, now protecting everyone. Grace walked in from school. Mommy, We learned about you today. What do you mean, baby? Mrs. Peterson said you're a hero, that you changed laws and fought bad guys and won. Grace climbed into her lap. Is that true? Sarah held her daughter. I fought for truth, for you, for women being hurt. Yes, we won. Were you scared? Every day. But Morrison women don't let fear stop them. We feel it and fight anyway. Grace nodded seriously. Like Grandma Morrison? Exactly like Grandma Morrison. That evening, Sarah attended the Morrison Act signing at the Capitol. Grace beside her, dressed up, excited. The president smiled. Miss Morrison, you've changed America. Hundreds of thousands protected because of your courage. Thank you. Sarah shook his hand. I didn't do this alone. 89 women became 317. All survivors, all fighters. This law exists because we refuse silence. After the ceremony, reporters swarmed. This law exists because the system failed us, Sarah said. Failed to protect victims, failed to question technology, failed to believe women. Today we fix that, not just for us, for everyone, for the next generation who won't fight our wars. Someone asked about Ryan. Ryan Mitchell is serving his sentence. In 13 years, he's eligible for parole. I don't think about him. I think about the future, about Grace, about making sure no woman loses years proving truth. That's what matters. Not revenge. Reform. That Saturday, Grace asked the question Sarah knew was coming. Mommy, where's my daddy? Sarah had prepared, knew the words, still felt her heart clench. Your daddy made bad choices, hurt people, hurt me, i.e., the law said he had to go to prison. Will I ever meet him? Maybe someday, when you're older, if you want. But baby, you don't need him. We have family, Kate, Marcus, Linda. Everyone who loves you. Family isn't just blood, it's people who show up. Grace thought about this. Did he love me? The hardest question. Sarah chose honesty. I think he loved the idea of you, but he didn't know how to love right. He was broken in ways that hurt others. Are you broken, Mommy? I was, for a while, but I healed. With help, with time, with you. Sarah pulled Grace close. You healed me. You saved me as much as I saved you. Grace hugged tight. I love you, Mommy. I love you more. More than yesterday. Less than tomorrow. Exactly enough right now. That night, Sarah recorded the final video for Grace's 18th birthday. Hi, baby. You're 18 today. I've recorded videos your whole childhood. This is the last one. You've grown into an extraordinary woman. Strong, kind, brilliant. You're going to change the world. Sarah leaned forward. You'll face people who try to diminish you, who underestimate you. When that happens, remember, your mother toppled billionaires. Your grandmother survived cancer. Morrison women don't surrender. But baby, you don't have to fight our wars. That's why we fought them. So you could inherit better. So you could build clean. She touched the camera. I'm so proud. Go build your empire, Grace Elizabeth Morrison. Go change the world. But remember, you don't have to do it alone. Morrison women are strongest together. Always. The video saved. 18 years of messages. 18 years of love documented. Truth for when Grace needed it. Sarah went to bed dreaming of futures where Grace thrived instead of just survived. Where technology protected. Where women's truth mattered. Morrison women don't surrender. They fight. They survive. They win. And they build worlds where the next generation doesn't have to. That was the legacy. 20 years after the anniversary party, Sarah Morrison stood at her office window. 52 years old, CEO of the world's largest ethical AI company. $12.7 billion. Built honestly. Grace was 22, graduating Yale, top of her class. Headed to Stanford for her PhD in AI ethics. Building on foundations without repeating wars. Morrison Taylor Technologies had changed the world. Ethics AI was global, 43 countries, protecting millions from deepfakes, from technological abuse. The Morrison Act had been strengthened 3 times. Each amendment protecting more victims, creating systems where truth mattered more than money. Kate Collin, Did you see? Ryan's up for parole, hearing next month. Sarah felt nothing. He served 18 years. That was the sentence. Will you attend? No, he's not my concern anymore. Ryan Mitchell was a footnote, a cautionary tale in business schools. The narcissist stud who stole and lost everything. Patricia died 3 years ago. Cancer, in prison, no family, no mourning. Victor Hayes died 5 years ago. Heart attack in his cell. Empire dissolved. Beth disappeared after release. Lived quietly in the Midwest. Never contacted Sarah. But Sarah thrived, built, changed the world they couldn't destroy. Grace's graduation was Sunday. They met Friday at their favorite restaurant near Yale, where Sarah used to eat while building the original algorithm. Full circle. Mom, I need to tell you something, Grace said over to dinner. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I've been offered professor at MIT, teaching AI ethics. Youngest professor in history, working with Marcus. Sarah's eyes filled, pride overwhelming. Grace, that's incredible. It's because of what you built, because Morrison means integrity. It's because you're brilliant, because you earned it, because you're Grace Morrison, your own person. Grace took her mother's hand. I want to do what you did, change systems, protect people. But Mom, I want to build without war, create without having to topple first. That's what I fought for. So you could build clean, so you'd thrive instead of just survive. Thank you for fighting, for surviving, for showing me what strength looks like. Graduation Sunday was perfect. Kate, Marcus, Linda, Dr. Stern watching Grace walk across the stage. Summa cum laude, award after award, brilliance recognized. Evening fell. Just family. Marcus raised his glass. To Grace, following your mother's footsteps while creating your own path. Linda added, to Sarah, who taught us truth wins. Kate smiled. To all of us, 22 years of surviving and thriving. Our Stern finished. To the future, where Grace's generation builds without our wars. That's real victory. After everyone left, Grace handed Sarah a bound manuscript. My dissertation, about you, about the Morrison Act, about how one woman changed American law. Sarah flipping through pages, research, interviews. Her life is academic study. It's being published. Stanford Law Review. Lead article. Mom, you're going to be required reading. Your fight, your victory, your truth. Sarah held her daughter, her greatest victory. You changed the world, Mom, Grace whispered. Now it's my turn, but I'm starting from higher ground because you lifted me there. That night, Sarah sat alone. 22 years of photos on the walls. Destruction to rebirth. Ashes to empire. She pulled out her journal, read the entry from 20 years ago, added the final words. 22 years later. Grace is a professor. Morrison Taylor protects millions. The Morrison Act is law. Mission accomplished. Not because I was strong, because I refused to quit. They tried to bury me. They didn't know I was a seed. And from that seed grew forests. Grace is the strongest tree. She'll grow forests of her own. Morrison women. Forever. Sarah closed the journal. Someday historians would read it, would understand. She poured whiskey, raised the glass to her mother's photo. We did it, Mom. Grace is everything you hoped. Strong, brilliant, unafraid. Morrison women don't surrender. Her phone buzzed. Grace texting. Thank you for everything. I love you. Morrison women forever. Sarah typed back. I love you more. More than yesterday, less than tomorrow. Exactly enough right now. Go change the world. Grace's response immediate. Already started, just like you taught me. Sarah smiled. 22 years, from victim to victor, from buried to blooming, from seed to forest. Morrison women don't surrender. They burn, they survive, they win, they build, and they make damn sure the next generation doesn't fight the same wars. Sarah Elizabeth Morrison had changed the world, permanently, and Grace Elizabeth Morrison would continue that legacy. Build higher, fight smarter, win bigger, mother and daughter, survivor and inheritor writer, past and future, Morrison women, forever. Sarah finished her whiskey. Tomorrow was Monday, board meeting. The work never stopped. But tonight she rested, knowing her work mattered, knowing Grace would continue, knowing Morrison women would keep fighting, keep winning, keep building forever. They tried to bury her. They didn't know she was a seed, and seeds grow into forests that shelter generations. The Morrison legacy wasn't money or fame. It was Grace standing on Sarah's shoulders, reaching higher, building better. It was systems changed, laws passed, women protected, truth winning. It was everything, and it was enough.